I'm familiar with this character. I know she's a chef or something. Here she is right here. And I know I'm not the only one who recognizes her in that hairdo. You see her right there? Anne Burrell, right? So, Anne Burrell, TV chef who coached culinary fumblers through hundreds of episodes of Worst Cooks in America, died Tuesday at her New York home. She was age 55. I see that she's born in 69 and she's 55. And I know Diddy is also age 55, born in 69. And he's trending right now. The Food Network, where Burrell began her 2-decade television career on Iron Chef America and went on to other shows, confirmed her death. Like how the Food Network confirms her death, right? Like they're a legitimate source to be confirming deaths. The cause was not immediately clear, and medical examiners were set to conduct an autopsy. Okay, so of course, no details here. The cause not immediately clear. Police were called to her address before 8 a.m. Tuesday and found an unresponsive woman who was soon pronounced dead. The police department did not release the woman's name, but records show it was Burrell's address. So this is interesting. Right here, she was on Iron Chef America, and she dies on the 17th of June, right? That's interesting because Iron Mike Tyson's birthday is June 30th. You see that right there? So this is Iron Mike Tyson. Is he still boxing? Right? The youngest heavyweight champion in history at age 20. She dies. She's on the show Iron Chef America. She dies June 17th, 13 days before Iron Mike Tyson's birthday. You know what I mean? It's like, right when I heard Iron, I'm like, oh, let me look at Iron Mike Tyson. Oh, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. Not that she dies 13 days before his birthday. There's also another character when I was growing up and I watched baseball. Look at Pat Burrell right here. This was a baseball player. I remember he had some power, but he's got the same last name as Anne Burrell. So I'm like, let me look at Pat Burrell's birthday. It looks like he's a hitting coach now for the Giants. But look at his birthday's October 10th right there. His birthday is not that far after Anne Burrell. So what? That would be like, what, 9 or 10? So about 3 weeks later. So his birthday's 3 weeks after Anne Burrell with the same last name. I mean, there's 365 days in the year. Okay? So the fact that Pat Burrell's birthday is roughly 3 weeks after Anne Burrell. And something else, let me go back to Iron Mike real quick. She dies 13 days before Iron Mike Tyson's birthday. She's on the show Iron Chef America. Look at this. Look, she died in in her Brooklyn home. And remember, we just had the Brooklyn Park neighborhood in Minnesota where the politicians got shot. Okay? And remember Russell Westbrook trending at the same time for becoming a free agent in the NBA. Look at this. Death place. It says in the video, Brooklyn, that we're about to watch. Look at right there. She died in her home in Brooklyn. And Mike Tyson is born in Brooklyn also. Fort Greene, a neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. Look at that right there. Iron Chef America, Anne Burrell dies 13 days before Iron Mike Tyson's birthday. She dies in Brooklyn at her home. Of course, Iron Mike is born in Brooklyn. Gosh. Right? And then she's got the September 21 birthday. Her last name's Burrell. And then you got this Pat Burrell on the world stage. His birthday's around 3 weeks after hers. Isn't that wild? You know, it was the only Burrell I can think of on the main stage. Just off the top of the dome. I don't like to stretch over here. Look, also, when you think of Iron and nicknames, what about Iron Mike Ditka? That was his nickname as well, wasn't it? Look at right here. Iron Mike Ditka. Look at his birthday's October 18. 8 days after Pat Burrell. I mean, come on, right? Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Anne Burrell connected to Pat Burrell. Not saying y'all are like super familiar with the guy. I mean, I grew up watching sports. I remember he had some pop in his bat. I think he was on the Phillies. But same last name. His birthday's about 3 weeks after Anne Burrell. R.I.P. to her. And then Iron Mike Ditka, his birthday's 8 days after that. She dies 13 days before Iron Mike Tyson's birthday. Ooh, look. Mike Ditka, born in Pennsylvania. And I just said, I know Pat Burrell from the Phillies. Look, isn't that amazing? And their birthdays are 8 days apart? Wow. I'm pretty sure Mike Ditka, they call him Iron Mike Ditka, right? Isn't that wild? And all of that is like semi on the fly. I just thought of that as I was about to present this. Look, Iron Mike. Come on, man. You know, how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole. You know, Michael Jordan connected with Chicago, Iron Mike, Chicago Bears. I mean, this stuff is wild, man. So let's go back to our character in question here. Isn't that wild? With that Brooklyn Park connection with the shooting of the politicians. But that was Brooklyn Park, like a neighborhood or it was like a town in Minnesota or whatever. So that's wild. And again, we know this character from her hair. Okay? And I was about to say it is Pride Month still, but I think she has a husband. But it is kind of interesting, right? She does have a husband, but I don't want to judge or anything. It says unresponsive in the shower, according to TMZ, by husband. That's interesting. So since I'm here, let me grab his name real quick. His name's Stuart Claxton. I hope the mic's good here. So let's just share this. Let me toss his name in and then we'll get to what I have already with the slides. All right. So I see I swear I saw that 163 recently. But anyways, we may come back to this. Let's get over and let's watch this video. And again, you should be familiar with the hair by now. If not, we'll play this so you can see her in action here, I guess. Really? Right? I wish they let me change slides like directly like this. There we go. So look, she dies at 55 and she's a part of this show. She coached the worst cooks in America. I guess is that another show? Look at how she died at age 55 and look at how they have her name Anne W. Burrell, 55 in the straight up numerology cipher. Look at that. Pure reduction cipher. Look at that right there. Anne W. Burrell, 55. She dies at 55. Without the W, Anne Burrell, you still get the 5 right there. Look at her next birthday, 55 date numerology as well, September 21st. 9 plus 21 plus 25 is 55. Wow. I mean, God and Satan also equal 55, right? We are in the 6th month still. And there's a lot of evilness with the 6th month. Okay. Remember, and even Taylor Swift bought back her 6 albums. I think that was like a day before the 6th month. I mentioned it's Pride Month. And just the number 6 in general, that like think about like 666. They like to associate with evil. Not saying she's evil. Uh just saying, right? But again, Anne W. Burrell, 55, dead at 55 before her 55 date numerology birthday. Anne Burrell's got the 50 right there. This is a solid connection right here. Look at this. So ordinals ABC 123. Look at that. The Food Network, where she began her 2-decade television career on Iron Chef America. The Food Network 179, like Anne W. Burrell. And she even dies on the day leaving 197 days. So you just flip that 7 and the 9 around. You see that? So Anne W. Burrell hits heavy. You see that they don't give a full middle name, but they give the W there. And wow, 55, dead at 55. She syncs up with where she began her 2-decade television career. And you get another 2 here. She is dead one day after Tupac's birthday. And she dies on Kendrick Lamar's birthday. Not saying, that's like a huge factor here. But in the decoding world, we do know that June 17 is Kendrick Lamar's birthday, one day after Tupac's birthday. And, we have Trump's birthday that was on June 14th as well. So some important birthdays right around this time, okay? But Anne W. Burrell, 179, like the Food Network, dies June 17, the day leaving 197 days in the year. She dies 3 months, 4 days before her birthday. Burrell equals 34. That's that reduction cipher again. Okay. Only 4 base ciphers I used to show you this. She's got the Brooklyn on the shirt right there even. Brooklyn B, Burrell B. Don't forget the Brooklyn Park shootings in Minnesota as well. that were trending one day after Russell Westbrook denied. I forgot how the language, what the language they use, but becoming a free agent, not exercising. He opted out, or however they put it. But Russell Westbrook trending, Brooklyn Park trending, Brooklyn, New York trending. You get that reduction cipher again with the 34 syncing up with the death date and the birthday. Notice how Burrell has 101 in reverse with the alphabet. And look at her next birthday, September 21st, leaves 101 days in the year. And 101 is the 26th prime number, as you know, RIP before seeing the year 2026. RIP to her. Now, you see right here, was an American chef, television personality, and instructor at the Institute of Culinary Education. I put it in there just like that. Institute of Culinary Education. 353. Ignore the 403 in reverse there. But look at ordinal ABC123. You get 353. That's the 71st prime number. The Food Network, 71. Anne W. Burrell, 71. So Anne W. Burrell's hitting heavy there on 3 slides. And the Food Network hitting heavy with Anne W. Burrell, 179 and 71. You see that? Where she began her career. Right? No word on a cause of death. I mean, let's go back and look at the character again. Maybe pull up the Wikipedia real quick just to see if anything else lands. That signature hairstyle there. Here's her Wikipedia. Hopefully I don't accidentally hit stop like I did on the last video. I'm just scanning. There's that Brooklyn again right there. Brooklyn, New York City. She was born in Cazenovia, New York, but her home in Brooklyn. She attended Canisius College in Buffalo. Buffalo B, Burrell B lives, and she died in Brooklyn B. The small B is kind of like a 6 as well, dead in the 6th month. Remember the dude from the Beach Boys just died in the 6th month as well. Just can't remember his name. Beach Boys B, again like the 6. Right? Okay, so just a lot of restaurant experience here with their career. I'm not seeing anything else but relating to much else. Even, all the TV shows. Best Thing I Ever Ate, Secrets of a Restaurant Chef. All right, so the Food Network, they got the credentials to let us know about this death, apparently. Right? Don't forget the Iron Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Ditka connections we went over earlier. Pat Burrell. They said, I think, a hitting coach with the Giants, I think is what they said. With the same last name. Don't forget that connection. They're set to conduct an autopsy. We'll see if we hear anything. But yeah, I don't know. The Food Network. Let me go ahead and look up the Food Network real quick. Maybe like a founding date. November 23rd. Okay. All right, so I think I think the work may be done here. I mean, that 55, that's undeniable. And remember, Satan equals 55. We're in the 6th month. Satan's got the S like 6, right? Anne Burrell, 55, dies at 55. Anne Burrell's even got the 50. Next birthday with that 55 date numerology. We'll watch this one again. I mean, she has a husband, but when you kind of look at her, if you were to judge her, you would speculate possibly a lesbian, right? And it is Pride Month. Let me just type in lesbian here just to see if we get those same hairdos. Let me type in lesbian hairdos. How do you spell do's? You see that? You see? So that is interesting, isn't it? That's interesting. Isn't that interesting? Look at that right there. You see that? Right? You see that right there? Let me pull her up again. And now look at her. Look. That is interesting, isn't it? I mean, right? We're in Pride Month, right? But again, she has a husband supposedly. Stuart Claxton, here he is right here. There he is right there. I think they said he found her dead, but the Food Network is the one that confirmed the death. Does he have a birthday? He's just known as her husband, I guess. I don't know if that's actually him right there. So interesting, right? All right, so I think that's about all the research I can do here. I mean, there's always something that could be missed. I just decided to go ahead and record right now. Yeah, I mean, I keep going to sleep and I'm not waking up like I used to, y'all. I'm sleeping like crazy. So I figured I'll just stay up and get this recording in since I'm not going to be able to get out of bed when I want anyways. Might as well just make it worth my while. So I mean, RIP here. She's a cook or whatever. So the same. Ooh, that rhymes with Brooke. Ooh, she dies in Brooklyn. Brooke Cook with the Brooklyn Park shooting in Minnesota. Russell Westbrook trending. Iron Mike Tyson born in Brooklyn. Ooh, that's wild. Expect somebody just like I did with the Russell Westbrook. I told a family member, I said, look, expect something trending with Brooke. And then look what has developed. But expect somebody with the name Cook to be trending possibly in the next few days. Maybe like Cook County or like Dalvin Cook. I think he's still in the NFL. Expect something else with Cook possibly to be trending. Okay? Possibly within the next week. And I'll keep my eye out. Shout out to y'all, Anne Burrell, TV chef, who coached the worst cooks in America. That's interesting, America, with the Trump birthday a few days ago as well. Dies at 55. Remember, Satan equals 55. We're in the 6th month. A lot of that energy lingering. All right, y'all. Until next time.